Hi guys, Attila from the third coat. I just want to show you something of drama here. As I was painting the windows, the weight from the end of the double hung window. So what happens is there's that cavity on the side of this is a double hung window, yeah. So there's a cavity on the side of the window, and there's sort of weights on the end of the rope. You see these ropes sort of, they go up and go into that hole there on the end of the roller, and so the rope sort of connects to this weight, right? And that ensures that the windows can stay in a certain position and they don't just sort of drop down all the time. So they just make them more functional. But the drama here was, hope I can show you with one hand because I'm holding the camera in the other. So you see these little knots on the end of the rope. That's to ensure that that the rope is sort of secured into the top of this weight right here. So the rope goes in here, and you sort of tie a knot on the end of it, and that knot sits in that gap, right? But what happens here is, I mean, even by just looking at it, you can see that knot doesn't look big enough. Or maybe what happened is the guy who did it, he may have tried to put a double knot on there, so instead of just two separate single knots like it is now, he was probably trying to double it up in the same spot, but he didn't quite get it right, and as a result that knot is just not big enough, so it just slides out eventually. If you put enough stress on it, it will just sort of slide out, and that's what happened here. So as a result, I had to sort of, all the prep, and I already undercoated the windows and whatever, and that's when this happened. So a bit of a bummer. I mean, I'm sure that the client will be happy to pay extra for me for this, because this is not really my error. It's just it was bound to happen sooner or later. So anyway, just so you know, just a bit of a demo on how this thing works, how these windows work. And obviously you cover that gap up. I mean, that piece came out of there, and then you've got that sort of little trim that goes on the end of it, on this, like that one there. Yeah. So you just nail that back on. But just a demo of how these things work, and if you ever have to do something like this, then make sure that you put a decent sized knot on the end of your rope, otherwise it might just sort of slide out at the top, and you lose the weight, because that's what happened. You lose the weight, and the weight ends up just freestanding down the bottom there, and the rope is just has got nothing on the end of it. Just want to add something to this video. Now I've sort of reinstalled it and primed and undercoated, and just needs a top coat now, but just want to add something, or make some sort of a clarification. I did say that when you hook that rope onto the weight, and then you got to tie a knot on the end of the rope just to make sure that it stays inside the top of that weight. And when I removed the rope, it had two consecutive single knots which were a bit loose, so they were not thick enough, so it sort of slides out of that hole. But what may also have happened is that may actually have been a double knot originally, but just over time and with the, with the weight on there, and because as I was painting, I had to pull the rope just to be able to paint behind it and that sort of stuff. So that just may have been too much stress on it, and the knot itself may not have been tight enough. So the second knot may not have been tight enough on the first knot. So as a result, it just slid off the first knot, if you know what I'm saying. And in the end, the double knot became two single knots, and it just sort of slid out of that hole. So what I did when I put it back, I did put a double knot on there, but I tried to make sure that I tightened it as much as I could, and hopefully it won't slide out in the future. But anyway, I hope this helps. Have a good one. Bye.